I did a foundation degree at Truro College for 2 years, and then I went on to Plymouth College of Art to do a bachelor's degree in animation. So autism affects me on a day-to-day basis, mostly through social interaction and being able to read people's tone of voice, their body language, and their emotion. So when someone tells me it, I take it word for word. I don't, if they're talking about sarcasm, or if they ask me to do something that doesn't really make sense, it won't make sense to me at all. After I left university, I was trying to apply for jobs for a long time. I went to interviews after interview after interview after interview, and I got almost constant rejection. Mostly because of my autism, either not being able to talk within the interview, or from some interviews themselves and the interviewers giving the reason that I couldn't have the job purely because of autism.
So when I first met Toby, you could instantly tell he's a very gentle soul. And one of the first things that I think we spoke about was, because he's always very apologetic. He's always saying sorry and sorry and sorry. And he doesn't have a need to say sorry. He really doesn't, and didn't then and doesn't now. And so the first thing I said to him was actually, rather than saying sorry, say thank you. He said, well, why do I need to say thank you? And I said, well, say thank you because it has a better connotation. So rather than saying sorry for being late or sorry for needing time, just say thank you for allowing me the time. Thank you for providing me with it. He said, oh, okay. So that was kind of one of the first things. And I know that we started that it was kind of like I was his mentor, and he was kind of the mentee, and it very, very quickly within what we were doing, it came the other way around. So he was actually my support, I was his mentor, but he was actually more of a support for me than I was for him, because we started a digital provision, so a creative provision, and his digital skills are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and mine are mediocre to average. So the idea was that I was leading it and he was actually supporting me with that digital stuff. It very quickly changed that I was doing the paperwork and kind of supporting him in that way, but everything digital he was doing.
So the coping mechanisms I use at work tends to be needing extra time to be able to communicate with my colleagues, or if I get overwhelmed, I tend to take 5 minutes to myself to bring my heart rate, my stress levels and my brain activity down a bit. I tend to listen to music while I'm working as well, because it tends to help me focus on the work when I've got a lot to do.
What kind of music do you listen to?
It tends to be, people find it odd, but I listen to really heavy metal to help calm me down, and people don't really understand that.
So out at Chaos Farm, what we do is we take a person-centred approach. So it's suitable for anybody, so people with autism or people without, with additional kind of challenges. So we ensure that we give people plenty of time, both to A, process, and B, to understand things. We make sure that we've got a really safe space so that anybody can ask questions. There's no repercussions from those questions, and no matter how many times those questions are asked, it's all good. A question is a question, and it's okay to ask. We make sure that we try to provide different ways of learning. So we do kind of physical, hands-on learning. We do it through theoretical practice, and we actually write everything on a board. So we talk through it in the first thing in the morning so that everybody hears it auditorily, and then we actually write it down on a big whiteboard so everybody can see it, and it can be like a step-by-step for everybody. We then make sure that we've got a breakout space so that if people need to just have a little bit of calm, just away from kind of the busyness of the farm group or the horticulture group, they can actually go into a safe place that's nice and quiet, it's sheltered, it's not got too much sunlight, it's not got too much wind, it's just a really nice environment which is semi away from everything. So they're still on the farm, still part of the process and still part of the daily tasks, but they're actually at that kind of step away, so they've got a bit of breakout really.
So Chaos has always been incredibly supportive, even when I began on the creative provision. They were incredibly inclusive, and if I ever needed help, there was always someone there I could ask. Even now when I'm working on the production assistant side, if I ever needed any help or any extra time on a project, or if I need to ask constant questions over and over again, they're always happy to help, and it's incredibly, I'm really happy working here. Incredibly happy working here.
Yeah, so when people are on the farm, they might be cleaning out stables, they might be brushing horses, they might be checking sheep, feeding sheep, picking eggs up for the chickens. So some of that is actually, it's quite a lot for an individual with autism. It's quite a lot to think about, and sometimes they don't like things that fly, they don't like bigger things, or it might be the noises. There might be different things within that, so there's additional challenges for each individual. So we break it down into each different task. When it comes to the horticulture side of things, it might be that repetitive action that's really, really helpful for them, that they really appreciate. So they might tend to go into the horticulture more, so digging beds in, planting seeds or sowing individual seeds, and it can be that preciseness and that repetitive action. So it's open for everybody really.
If the employees know that the person going in for the interview has autism, they need to give more time for the interviewee to give their answer. They need to, if possible, go into a more quiet room where there's no distractions, because even small noises like a clock in the wall or background noises from other colleagues in the background, or anything that seems like a minor inconvenience to any person with autism, for someone with autism, is heightened to such a degree. Like right now, there's traffic going by, there's noise all around, there's machine equipment, and it's all heightened, and it can cause a lot of stress and distraction from what they're trying to focus on. It's going to be difficult to shortlist it, really. The best thing about working with carers is how, like I said before, how supportive and understanding everyone is, how much space they give you, and how much time they give me to enable to do my work. If there is anybody who has autism and has been struggling with mental health or depression, try talking to Pentrief or try talking to your local mental health team, because the help is there, you just need to talk to someone. I can understand how difficult it is to try and reach out, but you need to.